Alright, welcome to this episode of Alan Fixed It. Today, we're in the middle of a project, and we ran into a snag, and I'm going to show you how to get over that snag. So, we're swapping a motor out of a 2003 Outback. The previous one spun a bearing, has a real nice knock to it. So, we sourced another motor, and everything was going fine. I knew the motor was a little bit different. Sometimes when you're dealing with different years and things, you have to change a few things over. On this one, we changed the intake manifold, we changed the timing sprockets for the cams, and the crank, or at least on this side. These are the ones that have the timing marks on them. They're different between these two models. So this motor is all put together, ready to go back in the car, except for one thing. Some Subaru 2.5 motors have EGR. Some do not. As you will notice, this one does not have a threaded hole for this EGR pipe. This is the new motor that we're putting together, that we're putting in. The motor that came out of the car does. So we're tasked with one of two options. Alright, option one, so we can do it the right way. We can drill a hole in this head, tap it with threads so that we can thread this guy into it. That's the right way and the legal way to do it, so everything works out. Some people have successfully changed this right here to a different fitting, or cut this pipe and turned it and looped this back into the vacuum system. Now on this car, most people do it on the idle air control vacuum system. On this car, the vacuum system on the idle air control is not as forgiving. I didn't want to mess with it. You can't use anything that oil goes through, like the PCV, the breathers off of the valve covers, because you'll burn oil. So we're left with the option to drill this and tap it, do it the right way. So I'm going to show you how we do that. Went down to a specialty tool place. Now you can probably buy these on the internet. I needed to get this done quickly. The things that you'll need is can't really see it, but it's a M20x1.5 Tap. You'll also need a drill bit to go with it if you don't have one. 18.5 millimeter drill bit is the correct drill bit to use for it. They did not have that, so I got the closest thing without going too big, which is 23/32. Now you could try to go a little bit bigger. I didn't want to chance it. 18.5 millimeter is the right one if you have it, if you have access to it. 23/32 is the closest thing otherwise. And then you're also going to need another drill bit to drill a little bit deeper into that hole so that it goes all the way through. That bit, I believe, is 5/16. I'll double check that and throw a little tag on the window here when I'm sure, or on the video here. So essentially what we're going to do is we're going to start with our big drill bit. We're going to go real slow, and Subaru was nice enough to give us a pilot hole, and we're basically just going to drill that out nice and slow until we reach the bottom there where it's plugged, and then we'll go from there. Alright, so we've drilled it out. Now we have a little pilot, a little starting spot from our other drill bit for our smaller drill bit to punch the hole. Now this is the one that's real important. You don't want to drill too far. You don't want to drill too far on this drill either. You want to just go right until it bottoms out. On this one, we're going to take it real slow. Make sure you're lubricating your drill bit. If you go too far, you could damage the internals. Right behind this is an exhaust valve. So we're just going to go real slow until we barely punch through. Alright, we're not quite there, but I just wanted to give you a quick update, kind of what it looks like. We're taking it nice and slow. You don't want to hit that, you don't want to punch through, pressing real hard and hit that exhaust valve, so keep it up. Alright, so if you can see down there, we're starting to break through that wall. Like I said, just take it slow. One thing I'm noticing now that I've got that drilled pretty deep there, it looks like, measuring between this one and the old one, that I'm going to take that big bit and take it probably another 1/4 of an inch in. It's a pretty deep little tube in there, and I want to make sure I have enough threads. So now that I know that I got a little bit of room, I'll probably take it another 1/4, maybe an 1/8, just a little bit more, nothing crazy, before I punch that the rest of the way through. That way I can clean out as much shavings this direction as I can. You want to try to avoid, you want to try to avoid, punching as many shavings as you can through the other direction. They're just going to go through the exhaust port on the bottom, right out the tailpipe. They're not going to get into the engine, luckily. So I'm going to drill that a little deeper and then finish punching that hole, and we'll get back to putting threads in it. All right, here's our hole, all drilled and pretty. The only thing it's missing is threads. So the next thing we're going to do is use our die. Start it real carefully. Make sure that you're going in straight. Make sure you're lubricating it with either dye fluid or cutting fluid, or some people use WD-40, whatever you're comfortable with. And just go real slow. You're going to do it by hand. If possible, you'll want to use a double-sided a die handle, so that you can keep that thing straight. If you can't, you can use a socket, but just be real careful that you don't get that in there at an angle. We'll be right back. Alright, so we're going here. Give you an idea, you want to go real slow, keep it lubricated. Be double, triple checking that you're going in straight. I know the video can't really show it real well, but I'm going in real level. I couldn't find my die wrench, so I'm actually using a socket, 16 millimeter socket, and a wrench, just being real careful not to torque it one way or the other. We're just going to go in until it bottoms out on our little ledge that we made in there, and then back it out and maybe run it in and out a couple times just to make sure that your threads are clean. And there we go. We are threaded. And that little seat will make a nice little seal for the end of this hose to set up against. We'll thread it in, button her up, and she'll be ready to go. And just like that, she's all put back together. Threaded in good, tightened up nice, went together no problem. Ready to go back in the car now. So good luck. Remember, take it slow, take it easy. You'll be all right.